Swami Associates, Shri G. Natarajan, Senior Partner, Swami Associates, Shri M. Karthikeyan, Senior Partner, Swami Associates, Makarant, Junior Partner of Swami Associates, my colleagues, past presidents and participants of today's program, good evening to all of you. A great pleasure to welcome Shri S.J. Kumar and his team of officials and all of you for this webinar session. I'm quite sure that you're all safe and keeping good health. We're able to see a new Jay Kumar with a new beard. It's nice, it looks nice on you. On 9th of August 2020, there was a webinar session on the topic inbound manufacturers addressed in the South India Chamber of Commerce, which I was also listening. And they were saying that not many people from South have opted for this because probably they did not know that this was available. And when they asked the department, they said most of the people have not opted in the South. That is why we are not given a session. So they should have given a session so that more people opt for it. There is an immediate revenue loss for them. So probably that is why they thought they not give a session immediately. But I was seeing in the session and it was quite very good, sir. That a lot of advantages are there, except in one area when the dollar rates keep going up, we end up paying duty at slightly higher levels, but we pay only when we are selling the goods. So that is one of the topics of today, which will be handled by Shri G. Natarajan and Shri M. Karthikeyan. And as you all know that our Shri S. Jayakumar is always very keen in creating awareness amongst our members whenever there is any change, amendments, either it is on notifications or judgments which relates to the goods and services tax. As far as Chamber is concerned, Shri S. Jayakumar is master to our members on GST issues. For this session, also he has readily agreed to meet our members on webinar and brief them on the inbound manufacturing and refund of unutilized ITC. As you're all aware, that there was a good court ruling which said that for inverted duty structure units, the duty credit for services also can be claimed as a refund. So that was a good judgment. And so a lot of companies in Coimbatore, especially manufacturers of pumps, will get large amounts as duty refund. So the senior officials, Shri G. Natarajan and M. Karthikeyan from Chennai and Shri Makarant from Hyderabad will join us stage by stage. These learned experts will elaborately talk to us on the above two issues mainly and other new judgments or issues that have come up recently. I request all the participants to feel free to raise any questions, doubts, queries, and get clarifications during interaction. I'd like to mention a few words about our speakers, even though he's well known to all of you because he has been conducting sessions for the last 2 years, hand-holding us, or more than that, hand-holding us on GST right from the inception of GST. Shri S. Jayakumar is an advocate by profession, heads Swami Associates, a multi-locational legal firm with specialized focus on central excise, customs, service tax, GST, and allied laws. He is also better known for his exceptional skills for writing articles. Above all, he is a well-wisher of the chamber and chamber members. He is a very, very busy advocate, but still he always finds time for the chamber. And whenever we want a session, he is helping us conduct them. And he comes and gives us all the details that are required or all clarifications that are required on any matter on GST. Similarly, Shri G. Natarajan is an advocate by profession and senior partner. He has a decade of experience in the Customs and Central Excise Department. He also appeared in various high courts and Supreme Court and in all the benches of CESTAT for more than 15 years. We welcome you, sir, G. Natarajan. Thank you for joining us today. Then we have Sri M. Karthikeyan, a senior partner of Swami Associates and specialized in customs, particularly for special economic zone. We welcome you, Sri M. Karthikeyan. Then we have the junior partner of Swami Associates from Hyderabad, Mr. Makarant. A hearty welcome to you, Mr. Makarant. I think this is the first meeting you are coming to us on Zoom for a chamber session. With these few words, I'm overwhelmed and I would like to welcome Sri S. Jayakumar for this session, and I request him to take over the session and give us valuable guidance on the matters of inbound customs warehouse and also the inverted duty structure claim to be made for refund of GST paid through our suppliers for materials and for services. May I request Sri Jayakumar please kindly take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we commence the session, I have a four-liner, Thanksgiving note to be read. Please allow me to read it. Respected President and his wonderful team, a revered audience for the evening. It's my immense pleasure and pride to present the seminar, of course, another knowledge sharing seminar endeavor, and probably could be the last one from us under the aegis of this wonderful incumbent Senate. I would call it as a Roman Senate. They have worked like this for the past 2 years, which should be soon withering the office after a glorious stint of 2 years of yeoman service. Honest to my words, we from Swami Associates stand truly honored for riding along this glorious and the golden chariot under the astute leadership of Mr. President, and we shall stand deeply indebted to you, sir, and to this august team for providing us all these opportunities over these 2 years to stay connected to my own folks and also serve my folks. With this Thanksgiving note, I commence the session. Today's session, I have to confess this. Whenever there is going to be a latest decision or a latest notification, immediately what I think is, I have to say this. I immediately think whether it will help our Coimbatore people. The first thought will come to me is this. And the second thing I will do is immediately call President and say that, sir, this has come. And the third immediate thing he will do is, when is the session? Like that spark only. This has been a routine for the past 2 years. Like this, when two wonderful happenings happened. In fact, one is that, as rightly pointed out by the President, this inbound manufacture notification which came has not got its enough publicity, even among the, not only among the associations or chambers or the assessees, even among the consultants, even among the practitioners, it has not gained its popularity because we were not aware. It was a very silent notification, of course. In one of the webinars when we conducted in the Madras Tax Bar, where Natarajan, I think the president, the chairman of CBIC presented, he was very harping on this notification, and then we got to know that such a wonderful notification has come, which is a need of the hour, and immediately we thought that we should give this presentation to our chamber, to our members. This is the first one. And when I was thinking about that, there was immediately a wonderful judgment from the Gujarat High Court. Of late, Gujarat High Court is giving wonderful judgments, I have to tell you. Of course, brand equity is from Delhi. Otherwise, Gujarat is giving on ocean freight. So many wonderful judgments is giving. This is another very fine judgment, which we were all, praying for. Because initially the unutilized on the inverted tax structure on the unutilized in ITC, the refund was for both inputs and services. Suddenly the department came up with a guillotine and chopped off the input services. And not only that, they did it with the retrospective effect from 1/7/2017, which was a huge hit under the belly for many of the manufacturers, particularly, as President said, for the pump manufacturers. But this judgment has come on a right timing, a wonderful judgment. I'm not sure that this judgment is going to stay for long, but I wish and I pray it should. So with these two happenings in the cup, I thought immediately this should be served to my own folks at Coimbatore. And that's why I immediately approached President and he immediately agreed as ever. And I also requested two of my great senior partners, one Mr. Natarajan and Mr. Karthikeyan. Karthikeyan has two honors. One is that he's an expert in customs and on this inbound manufacture is all about customs. So he will be the right person to address all the queries which will be raised on that. So I invited him. He also agreed. Thanks to Natarajan and Karthik for that. And we are also staging one of our emerging junior partners, Makarant, who is going to be the future of our Swami Associates. And when we decided that we should launch him in a podium, I thought this is the most, I would say, in fact, I opened my innings in Coimbatore. When I started my profession long back, DB gave me the opportunity and my innings started here. And I had a reasonable success in that. So I wish all the luck this Coimbatore has given me shall also go to my dear Makarant, who will be joining from Hyderabad and presenting his first ever presentation on a dais. And thank you, President, and all the office members for giving us an opportunity. With this, I hand over the baton to Natarajan. The session will be like this. Initially, it will be first we will address the inbound manufacture. The session will be taken by Natarajan. Then Karthik will jump in to answer all if any. He will clarify that. Then we'll get into the second part, which is a very vital part. Makarant will be speaking about, explaining about the judgment and the impact on that, on the ITC refund. And thereafter, the questions can be addressed by all of us. This is how we have packaged the session. With this, I hand over the baton to Natarajan. Over to you, Natarajan. Thank you.
Very good evening to all of you, Chamber President, office bearers, and all the members and my colleagues. May the host, I request the screen sharing is showing as disabled. I request the host to kindly enable the screen sharing for me. Yeah, that has been done. Yeah, we'll get into that. See, this inbound manufacturing is really going to be a game changer, which has come with a lot of benefits. Most of us, we have not noticed. It has come somewhere in the month of September 2019. And most of us have not noticed. Not only the people in the trade, the consultants, even the departmental people were also not much aware about this particular scheme. So, and suddenly, and then, as Jaykumar told, when the chairman of CBAC was addressing us a session in Chennai, he told about the scheme. Then we got curiosity, we got into that and realized this is really going to be of very big use for all the people who are depending upon imports for their operations, whether it is a manufacturing or a trading. Whoever is importing goods, definitely this will give a lot of benefits. So we will just explain the features of the scheme. What are all the pros and cons? What are all the doubts that may emerge? We will just deal with that. The concept of warehousing is not new under the customs. Already there are various provisions. There is one provision, section 57, which deals with public bonded warehouses. A particular person like a central warehousing corporation, they will take a warehousing license and set up a warehouse in a particular place where all the importers can import the material, move it to that public bonded warehouse, keep it there for some time, and subsequently clear the goods by filing a bill of entry. This is public bonded warehouse. The concept is there, already there. Similarly, we can also get a private bonded warehouse. Instead of a common entity like CWC getting a warehouse license, suppose I am a pump manufacturing unit. I want to have my own. It's not appearing? Screen sharing?
Natarajan sir, sorry for the interruption. Your screen is appearing, but you have to select the PPT. Yeah. So your folder screen is appearing.
1 minute. Yeah. Now it is coming?
Yes, sir. Now it is fine.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Yeah. So we have the concept of public bonded warehouses set up by various people. And we also have a concept of private bonded warehouses where anybody can approach the customs department and get a warehouse license for their premises, bring the materials there without payment of customs duty, and subsequently clear them. So even though these facilities were available, there were a lot of restrictions, and it is practically very difficult to get a particular private bonded warehouse. The entire area has to be declared as a custom station, lot of controls and all that. So people were not much into getting a private bonded warehouse license. So even though the statutory provision was there. And one more section was there in the Customs Act, that is section 65. Once you have a private bonded warehouse license, you can also get permission to do some operations there. It is not only necessary you can bring the goods and clear them as such. You can do some manufacturing operations or other operations inside the warehouse by taking permission from the customs department. This section is also already available. Under that, there were a lot of rules like warehouse custody and handling, warehouse goods removal regulations like that, where our procedures were there. But one common thread under all these schemes is the presence of a bond officer. There will be a customs officer posted in the public bonded warehouse as well as in the private bonded warehouse. All the removals, receipt of goods, everything will be subjected to the strict physical control by the bond officer. Without his approval, without his prior permission, no goods can be removed either inside or outside these particular warehouses. So these are all the provisions which were already available. And that this section 65, if we elaborate further, we can approach the commissioner and we can get a permission to do some operations, and there will be a warehousing period prescribed. How long we can keep the goods without payment of customs duty inside a warehouse, that is also prescribed under section 61. Whenever we clear the goods from that particular warehouse, we have to file a bill of entry which is called ex-bond bill of entry. Ex-bond bill of entry, and we have to pay the customs duty and then bring the material. So these are all the facilities which are available. So now what has happened? Section 58, that is the private bonded warehouse provisions under section 58, the manufacturing permission under section 65, both these things have been joined, and a lot of ingredients like ease of doing business, make in India, all those concepts have been put into that particular scheme. And finally, the result is the manufacturing or other operations warehousing regulations, MOOWR 2019, which has come into effect from 1st October 2019. So it is a result of section 58 plus section 65 and further a lot of procedural relaxations. So that is how we have got this MOOWR 2019. We can call it as inbound manufacturing. For the sake of simplicity, we will call it as an inbound manufacturing. Because I'm the host, even the admission also I have to be taken care. That is why I'm getting a little distracted. Okay, now who can apply for the permission for inbound manufacturing? Suppose if you are having already a private bonded warehouse license under section 58, now we can also apply for permission under section 65 to carry out various operations. And many people, they may not be already having any section 58 private bonded warehouse license and all. And now we can make a single application which will be both under section 58 as well as under section 65. A private bonded warehouse license under section 58 and a permission to carry out manufacturing operations under section 65. So effectively, all manufacturers, since we are addressing in Coimbatore, all the manufacturing units situated in Coimbatore, if they are dependent upon imported raw materials, they can apply for the private bonded warehouse license for their own factory premises. So it is not necessary that it has to be in any particular area. Even the existing premises, they can also be obtained the license. Or if you want to obtain for a new premises, you are already registered under GST for a particular premises. These operations you want to carry out in a different premises, no problem. That additional premises should be included as an additional base of business under GST, and you can apply for section 58 and section 68 permission for the new premises. No restriction on the premises. Any premises you can apply for a license, even including the existing factory premises. And the most important part of it is that person, whoever wants the particular license, they need not be doing any export. It is not necessary that they should be engaged in export. They may be 100% unit which is clearing only in domestic area. Even then, they are eligible to apply and get this particular license under the inbound manufacturing concept. There is no export obligation attached to this. A manufacturer or even a trader who is doing trading activity, importing and trading, or a manufacturing unit which is importing their raw materials, all people are eligible to apply under this particular scheme and get a license. Now, what are all the benefits we can expect under this particular scheme? So whenever we import any inputs, that is the raw material, we can bring the raw materials from the customs port or airport, wherever we have imported, from there to our premises. Once we get a license under section 58 and 65 under this scheme for our own factory premises or our own godown premises, we can bring the imported goods without paying any customs duty, and we can store all these goods in our premises. So the payment of customs duty is postponed. It is deferred. So when we are liable to pay the customs duty, we will come to that later. So the immediate benefit is from the customs station, without the payment of customs duty includes basic customs duty, IGST, whatever cesses are there, all those duties need not be paid. We can bring the goods to our own premises, for which we have got license under the new provisions. And after bringing the goods here, if we are going to export the goods as such, or after converting the raw material into a final product, if we are going to export the resultant product, then we need not pay the customs duty on the imported goods at all. Suppose if we are an exporter, 100% we are exporting, either as such export or after manufacturing, the final product is exported by us. Then we can bring the imported goods without payment of customs duty. We need not pay any customs duty on the imported goods, and the final product can be exported directly from our premises. So we are saving on the customs duty payable on the input. So this particular benefit is already available under EOU scheme, the SEZ, various other schemes are also there. But this schemes comes with lot of other additional benefits. So if we are exporting either the imported goods as such, or after converting the imported inputs into a final product, if the final product is exported, we need not pay any import duty on the imported items. So this is about the inputs. We can also import the capital goods. The machinery is required for our manufacturing purposes. That also can be imported. Without payment of customs duty, we can bring it to our premises and we can keep it in our premises, use it in our manufacturing operations. When we are liable to pay the customs duty on the capital goods, only when the capital goods are subsequently cleared. We may import a machinery, we'll be using it for 10 years. After 10 years, we may be disposing of the particular capital goods. It might have become obsolete, not usable. At that time only, we are liable to pay customs duty on the original capital goods imported. You have to note that we have to pay the original duty. Whatever is the original value, that has to be adopted. And what will be the rate of duty and what will be the conversion rate, we will come to that little later. So this is basically a duty deferment scheme. This is not an exemption scheme. The payment of customs duty, normally, once we file a bill of entry in the port, we are liable to pay customs duty on the imported goods. Under this scheme, the customs duty payment is deferred. Up to what period it is deferred, we are going to see. So this is capital goods can be imported, inputs can be imported. Now, no need to pay any interest. So there is a concept of warehousing period. How long we can keep the imported goods without paying the customs duty? That is called the warehousing period. So till that warehousing period, we are not liable to pay any interest on the customs duties on the imported goods. No interest liability till the permitted warehousing period. How much is the warehousing period? We will see it little later. So the payment of customs duty is postponed to a future date and we get lot of liquidity. So earlier, whenever we import the goods, raw material, immediately we have to pay the customs duty. Bring it, use it in the manufacture, subsequently sell the goods, give normal credit to the debtors, and finally we will receive the sale proceeds. So the time gap between these two things may be several months, but now the customs duty payment is postponed indefinitely. How long? We are going to see that. And another important benefit of this particular scheme is the bond officer will not be a customs appointed bond officer. We have to nominate one of our own executive, our own employee, who has got knowledge on these customs provisions as the bond officer. So there will be no physical supervision by the customs officer. Audits will be there, preventive visits will be there whenever it is required. But the day-to-day control is not under the physical control of the customs bond officer. Our own officer, our own executive has to be appointed as a bond officer who will be responsible for all the movement of the goods. Now, there is, during the course of carrying out the manufacturing operations, some waste may also arise. Suppose we are, let us assume, we are importing raw material A, B, and C, and finally we are manufacturing a final product D. We may use 100 kg of raw material, but we may not get the same output. There will be some waste and scrap also. So under this scheme, so maybe we can come back to the treatment of waste also a little later after seeing the procedures. If I am not covering it, please remind me, we will come back to this. So now, what are all the procedures to go under this particular scheme? So we have to file an application in form Annexure A. We have to give a common application. If we don't have a permission under section 58, it will be a common application both under section 58 as well as under section 65. That Annexure A, we have to give that application to our jurisdictional commissioner. The commissioner of customs, we have to give it. And we have to maintain proper records for the receipt of goods, how they are used, how they are converted into the final product, and proper records in form Annexure B. The Annexure B is also prescribed under that circular. So in the same form, we have to maintain the records. Computerized records have to be maintained. Then we have to execute a bond with the customs department in form Annexure C. It is called a triple duty bond, which means we have to estimate how much of goods we will be importing over a period of 1 year and how much will be the duty amount involved on that. 3 times the duty involved, we have to execute a bond. So we have to estimate how much we will be importing and how much will be the customs duty component on our imports, and 3 times that particular duty amount we have to execute a bond, and we may have to give some security also, a solvency certificate from the bank, a bank guarantee. For that, a lot of instructions are already available. The bank guarantee will not be equal to the duty amount. Some nominal bank guarantee has to be given depending upon the track record of that particular importer. And then if the resultant goods are exported, we are importing raw material, converted into a final product, and the final product is exported. So what we have to do, as usual, we have to file a shipping bill. We have to raise a GST invoice. So that export can be 2 options, either under LUT without payment of GST, or by taking ITC of local inputs on payment of tax also, it can be exported. So the usual options are available. We have to prepare a shipping bill as well as a GST invoice. And once the raw material is converted into a final product and the entire final product is exported, so that will be correlated. The bill of entry will be correlated with the shipping bill, and we know we don't have to pay any customs duty on the imported raw material. Suppose we imported 1000 kg of raw material, converted it into a final product, and the final product is exported in full. Then whatever is the customs duty payable on the raw material, it need not be paid at all. So we have to prove all the inputs imported under the particular bill of entry have been converted into final product, and all the final products are exported. Once that is correlated, the import duty on the imported materials need not be paid at all. Now, if the resultant goods are cleared for domestic consumption, we are not doing export, or we do both. We do both export as well as domestic clearances. Then for sale of the goods domestically, we have to prepare a GST invoice. It is quite normal. We have to prepare a GST invoice. At that point of time, that is whenever the final products are cleared from our premises, at that time, we have to file an ex-bond bill of entry for the inputs contained in the final product. Let us say 1000 kg imported, converted into a final product. Final product is also 100 kg. Let us presume that there is no waste. So we have imported in the month of January. We have brought it to our warehousing premises. We have not paid any customs duty on the imported raw material. We have used it in the manufacture. We are keeping it in our warehouse for some time. We are not able to find a buyer. Maybe after 7 months, after 8 months, a buyer comes forward to buy this particular final product. At that time only, we are supposed to pay the customs duty on the imported goods. We might have imported a lot of raw material. A particular, let us say for example, pump. A pump may require hundreds of raw material. There may be domestic raw material, there may be imported raw material, and we are concerned only with the imported raw material. So when one pump is cleared from the warehouse premises, that is our factory premises, we have to identify how much of imported raw materials are contained in that particular pump. How we will do it? We should have a standard input-output ratio. We have to inform the department what is the input-output ratio for our particular final product. Under the foreign trade policy, already the CION norms are available. Based on that, we have to declare the input-output ratio. Based on that, whenever we are clearing the final product, say 1 unit of final product, we have to identify how much of raw material has gone into the manufacture of that particular final product and find out how much customs duty is liable to be paid on the import. That has to be paid. So we are getting a time to pay the customs duty on the import of raw material. Instead of paying it at the time of import, without paying the customs duty, we can bring it to our factory premises, keep it there, use it in the manufacture, and keep the manufactured final product in stock. And finally, when the final product is cleared from the factory premises, at that time only, we are liable to pay the customs duty on the imported goods. So this is the major benefit under this particular scheme, where the duty deferment is given till the final product is cleared. Then, apart from the imported goods, we may also procure a lot of goods locally also. All my raw materials need not be imported, so no restrictions on that. We can always procure domestic raw material on payment of GST if it is GST attracting product, or if it is an exempted product, that also can be brought into our factory premises. No restrictions on that. So domestic goods also can be brought inside the warehousing premises. And similarly, imported goods can also be cleared for domestic consumption. And similarly, similar to domestic procurement, once you are opting under this particular scheme, it is not necessary that you have to do all the imports only under this scheme. Suppose there are some minor components where matching it with the final product is a little difficult. You can always bring it on payment of customs duty without opting for this particular scheme. It is your option. One bill of entry where there are major raw material, you will opt for the benefit of the scheme. And for some bill of entry where the raw materials are very meager, or they are in the nature of consumables where the input-output ratio and all will be difficult, you can always pay the customs duty and the port and bring it. No restrictions on that. And not only a manufacturer, a pure trader can also operate under these provisions. That facility was already available under Section 58. It is nothing new. So a pure trader can also import the goods for trading purposes without paying customs duty, keep it in the warehousing premises, and subsequently trade the commodity. And at that time, he can pay the customs duty also. So there are some time restrictions as far as trading is concerned. As far as manufacturer is concerned, he has got a huge time limit. Whenever he is selling the final product, sometimes you are not able to sell the final product because of the COVID situation. It takes some 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, no problem. The customs duty on the imported raw material is payable only when the final product is cleared. But as far as trading is concerned, there are certain restrictions. We will come to that. And if some of the inputs are exempted, that also can be brought inside the warehouse. There are no restrictions. Exempted inputs can also be brought in. And earlier, under the old provisions, for every movement of the goods, once you are removing it from the customs port to your warehouse, and your warehouse to another warehouse, and your warehouse to a job worker's premises, and from job worker's premises back to your place, and your premises to customer premises, and your premises to the port, if it is going to be exported, everything will be subject to prior approval of the bond officer earlier. Now that is not required. It is all only an intimation, and all removals are self-removals. So we have to maintain proper records. At the same time, once it is, see, you have to understand, customs is going to repose a lot of faith on the assessees now. See, we know how much of fraudulent activities can happen under customs, how much of smuggling can happen. So despite all those that, the government has come out with this bold step, and they are reposing a great faith on the importers. So without payment of customs duty, the goods are allowed to be cleared to our own premises. So definitely it is our responsibility to maintain proper records to the satisfaction of the customs department that all the customs duty which was not paid originally has subsequently been either paid, or if we are an exporter, we have to correlate it properly. So the responsibility will be on us. So we have to be very, very careful in maintenance of records. And as I said, we have to inform the department about our input-output ratio. So see, inputs may not be one. So theoretically, we can say my input is A, I process it and it becomes B. But practically, for example, if you take an automobile manufacturer or automobile component manufacturer, there will be thousands of components, and we have to declare the input-output norms to the department. So once we clear one unit of, let us take an example of Coimbatore unit, a precall we will take. One particular final product, a dashboard equipment, when it is cleared, there may be some thousands or hundreds and hundreds of raw material involved on that. So we should know when one particular equipment is cleared, how much raw materials have gone into that, out of that how much are imported, and on that imported component how much is the customs duty which we are liable to pay now. So that of records have to be maintained, and we get the duty deferment benefit. And we should have our own warehouse keeper. We have to nominate our employee as a warehouse keeper. We should keep a proper board. This is a customs bonded warehouse. Enga area ulla varada. So andha madri we have to keep a board on the premises, and all our stores records have to be maintained in computer, and there should be proper security available in the premises. And the premises need not be a closed premises, lock and key, fence irukano. There are no such special restrictions. The premises, whatever is required for your own safety, that are sufficient. See, sometimes if you are dealing with some very big raw material like iron and sheet and all, it can be even an open premises also. Or if you take the case of a big manufacturing premises like a cement factory or a sugar factory, it will not be a closed factory premises. On all those things, the department cannot object. Our own premises, there should be proper security measure. Entry and exit should be there. There should be some attendance records maintained. So once customs officers may come and verify whether the premises is having enough safety precautions. So otherwise, there are no restrictions. You need not earmark one particular area. You can declare the entire factory premises as a warehouse area, and there are no specific enclosures required. The entire area can be declared as a warehousing station. Now, once the goods are transported from the customs port up to our factory, from the customs port to our factory, that movement will be under an one-time lock. The customs department will place an OTL. There is a special seal available with a unique serial number and all that. The container will be locked with that OTL. And once the goods are received in our premises, we have to see whether the OTL is intact. If it is damaged, we should not open it. Immediately, we have to inform the customs department. If the OTL is proper, we have to make an endorsement in the bill of entry and the transport documents that the bond officer, that our self-nominated bond officer should endorse that the OTL was intact and I have inwarded all the material. So like that, entry should be made in the bill of entry and the transport documents. And Form B, earlier we saw Annexure A is the application form and Annexure B is the records to be maintained. So in the records, we have to make an entry about the receipt of goods. After that, any movement of the goods, we can send the goods for job work purpose or to any other warehouse you can transfer. All those movements have to be properly entered in the record. Form B record, every movement of the goods has to be entered in the record. So people, whoever is using SAP and other software platforms, you have to modify your records in line with that Form B. So that has to be done. And there should be a return in Form B. That is only for the traders. Whoever is doing trading activity under this warehousing premises, they are supposed to file a monthly return. Even earlier also, the same monthly return has to be filed. But in case of manufacturers, there is no need for any filing of return. Once you maintain the records in Annexure B, that itself is sufficient. For traders, the monthly return is required. Now, the important question is, how long I can keep the goods without payment of customs duties? That is called the warehousing period. For capital goods, we have a long warehousing period. Normally, when we import some capital goods, we'll be using it continuously in the manufacturing operations till the capital goods become obsolete or outdated. So till such time, we need not pay customs duty on the imported capital goods. It's a very, very bold measure. See how much of revenue the government will be foregoing on account of this. Almost all import of capital goods as if it has been exempted now. There is no export obligation. You can be a complete 100% manufacturer selling the goods only for domestic market. Still, you can import the capital goods without payment of customs duty, bring it to your premises, use it, and only when the capital goods are subsequently cleared, maybe after 5 years, 6 years, at that time, on the original value, you have to pay the customs duty. On the original, not on the written down value and all, on the original import value, you have to pay customs duty. Till such time, the payment of customs duty on imported capital goods is deferred. It gives a lot of liquidity to our organization. So capital goods, the warehousing period is till the capital goods themselves are cleared from our factory premises. Till such time, we need not pay any customs duty on the imported capital goods. And coming to inputs, the notification says till their consumption or clearance from the warehouse. So the word consumption may create some problem. So when the inputs can be said to be consumed, once we put it in the manufacturing line, it is as good as consumed. But they have clarified it in the circular. Only when the final product is cleared, the liability to pay customs duty arises. So that has been made clear by the circular. So import the raw material, bring it to our warehouse premises, that is the factory premises, keep it as long as it is required, use it in the manufacturing operation, and finally, when the manufactured goods are cleared, at that time, we have to pay duty on the imported inputs, the customs duty, which was not paid at the time of import. We will call it as, maybe we can call it as a parent duty. So whatever is the parent customs duty payable on the imported imports, we are liable to pay that only when the final product is cleared. So it may not be one-to-one. See, for example, we might have imported 1000 kg of raw material, 1000 kg of raw material, bring it to our factory premises, use it in the manufacturing operation. And using that, we have manufactured 1000 units of final product. Let us assume 1000 numbers of final product manufactured out of 1000 kg of raw material. So when on the first day, we are clearing 10 units of final product. First day, we are clearing 10 units. So we have to pay customs duty for 10 kg of raw material. After 10 days, another 100 units are cleared. At that time, we have to pay customs duty for the 100 kg of the raw material. So like that, we have to correlate between the inwarded inputs and the final products being cleared. Now coming to trading, if you are a trader, you may be a pure trader or you may be a manufacturer. Apart from importing the inputs for using in manufacturing operations, you may also do some trading, either same goods or different goods. So in case of traded goods, the warehousing period is 1 year. You can keep the goods for 1 year, but the interest liability will start after the expiry of 90 days. So now the question will arise, I'm a manufacturer. Let us say I'm an automobile manufacturer. I import certain goods. I use it for my manufacturing operation. The same item, let us say a two-wheeler manufacturer, let us say TVS. TVS is importing various raw material. They are using it in manufacturing the two-wheeler. At the same time, those items may go for spare market also, which is trading. But when you are importing, we don't know whether this particular item is going to be used in our manufacturing operation or in our trading operation. That we may not be able to identify at that because the material is common. Say, for example, a rear view mirror. We have imported 1000. We have brought it to our premises under inbound scheme. And out of the 1000, how much will be used in manufacturing and how much will be cleared for spare market at that particular point, we may not know. Let us assume after 90 days, after the 90 days of interest-free period, if some of the imported rear view mirrors are cleared for trading purpose, whether interest is liable to be paid, this aspect is not clear. But in our view, when the original intention is for manufacturing purposes, that should be given the benefit. Only for pure traders are certain goods are identified only for trading purpose. We are not at all using it for manufacturing purpose, only for trading purpose. Only for such type of goods, this restriction of 1 year and the interest-free period of 90 days should apply. And in all other cases where it is in the nature of raw material, even though subsequently you are selling the raw material as such, that restriction should not apply. This is one gray area which the board has to clarify very soon. But in our view, if it is a pure traded item, it is not at all used in our manufacturing operation, then the warehousing period will be 1 year and the interest will be waived only for 90 days. Otherwise, if it is a raw material which is capable of being used in our manufacturing operation, even though you are trading it, a part of it, then the warehousing period will be till the final product is cleared or till the time when you are clearing it for the trading purpose. That should be the position which needs a little more clarity. Now, at that time, whenever we are clearing the goods subsequently, we have to file a bill of entry. That is called ex-bond bill of entry, and all customs duty payable on the original imported item. If it is raw material, raw material. If it is capital goods, capital goods. That should be paid at that particular point of time. If you are paying it immediately, no further interest. And if you are further delaying the payment of customs duty, for that subsequent period, interest will be liable to be paid. Not for the warehousing period. Beyond the warehousing period, interest will be liable to be paid. Now, there are certain questions. The first one, which I have already told, the same inputs used in manufacture as well as trading. What should be the warehousing period? So in my view, that whatever is the normal warehousing period applicable for the inputs, that is till they are cleared, either as a final product or inputs as such, till such time, there should not be any requirement for paying the customs duty. But if it is a pure trader or the goods are imported specifically for trading purpose, then the warehousing period will be 1 year and the interest will be waived only for the first 90 days. And there is a power to waive that interest also. The traders, the interest-free period is only 90 days, but the board or the commissioner, if you approach in a special case, it can be waived also. So what are those special cases and all? There are certain precedents and all, which if required, maybe my colleague Karthik will address on that. So otherwise, for the inputs, there are no restrictions on the warehousing period. For trading, 3 months without interest and 1 year, it can remain in. Now, when the final products are cleared for home consumption, now at this point of time, I will go back for the waste also. So waste, there are two types of treatment. I'll go to the previous slide. Just a second. Yes. Let us assume I am an exporter as well as I am clearing for my domestic product, domestic market. So whatever waste is arising, that final product in the manufacturing operation can be cleared home consumption or can be exported. So first we will deal with the home consumption part of it. Whenever the manufactured product is cleared in domestic market, the waste attributable to that particular manufacturer. Let us take an example. 1000 kg raw material I have imported. I have done manufacturing process. I have got 900 kg of my final product. The remaining 100 kg is in the form of waste. Remaining 100 kg. Sometimes there may be some invisible waste also. We will come to that later. So 100 kg is waste and 900 kg is the final product. So when I am clearing the final product, I have to pay GST on the final product. No doubt on that. If this waste is also cleared in the domestic market, there may be some buyers for the waste also. So whenever the waste is sold, at that particular point of time, I have to pay applicable GST on the waste also. The waste also may attract GST. I have to pay appropriate GST. If that waste is destroyed, At this point, I have my doubt. Even though I have put, if the waste is destroyed, no need to pay GST. That facility is available only for export, not for the Karthik. Am I right? Karthik, you are online?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this particular line of the slide is not correct. So whenever the final product is cleared for home consumption, any waste attributable to that particular final product, when I am clearing it, I have to pay GST, and I should also pay corresponding import duty. In my given example,
I'll correct it nuts.
Yeah.
It's like this. For wherever you are exporting.
No, export I am yet to come. Export I am yet to come.
This is only home consumption.
Only
okay,
home
done.
consumption.
Yeah.
Shall I proceed?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So please follow me. 1000 kg of raw materials are imported. I use it in manufacture. I get a final product which is 900 kg. The remaining 100 kg has become waste. That 900 kg final product I sell in local market. I have to pay GST. No doubt on that. This 100 kg waste, if I am selling it locally, if it is attracting GST, I have to pay GST on waste also. No problem. But apart from that, when I am clearing my final product 900 kg, I have to pay customs duty on 100 kg of the 1000 kg of the raw material imported by me, because for manufacturing 900 kg, I have used 100 kg of the raw material. So when I clear 900 kg of the final product, I have to pay customs duty for the entire 1000 kg raw material imported by me. That raw material I may be able to sell, or I may have to destroy, whatever it is, I have to pay customs duty for 1000 kg of raw material when I am clearing 900 kg of my final product. Is that clear, Karthik?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the final product is exported, instead of clearing the final product in domestic market, if I am exporting the final product, then same example, 1000 kg I have imported, used it in manufacture, final product is 900 kg and the 100 kg is waste. So once I export the final product, the entire final product 900 kg, then I need not pay any customs duty on the imported raw material. To the extent of that 900 kg raw material, I need not pay any customs duty. Hope it is clear. Raw material import 1000 kg, manufactured 900 kg is the final product, 100 kg is waste. Once the 900 kg final product is exported, I don't have to pay any customs duty for equivalent raw material. 900 kg raw material, I need not pay. Now, what will happen to the 100 kg waste? If the waste is destroyed by me, if the waste is useless, I have to destroy it, or it is an invisible waste, then I need not pay any customs duty for the 100 kg waste also. So effectively, once that 100 kg waste is destroyed or invisible, I will not pay any customs duty on the entire 1000 kg imported by me if the final product is exported. Now, suppose if that waste is cleared by me locally, final product I am exporting, no problem. The waste is cleared by me locally, 100 kg waste, I am able to sell it locally. Then I need not pay the parent customs duty by applying the rate of duty applicable for the inputs, by applying the value of the inputs, whatever duty I should have paid at the time of import, I need not pay. This is a concession. What the law says, waste would have been in a different form. It may get classified in a different heading. It will fetch only a smaller value. So I have to pay the customs duty as if I am importing the waste. I hope that you get the point. When I import the raw material 1000 kg, the price will be higher. I have not paid any customs duty. Brought it to my premises. Manufactured 900 kg of final product. Exported that final product. No problem. This 100 kg waste destroyed. No problem. I don't have to pay any customs duty on the 1000 kg imported. I am exporting the waste also. No problem. I don't have to pay any customs duty on the imported raw material. But if I am selling that 100 kg of waste in domestic market, I need not pay customs duty on the raw material attributable to that particular waste at the rate of raw material and the value of the raw material. No, it will be deemed that I have imported 100 kg waste. So what is the classification for the waste? What is the value for the waste? We have to determine as per the customs law, and I have to pay. So here also there will be a saving. So this will be applicable only if the final product is exported. When it is domestically cleared, we are liable to pay all customs duty on the entire quantity of the raw material which has gone into the mine. Now, if we just tabulate it in this form, let us assume there are two raw materials, raw material A, raw material B. We put it together, we manufacture a final product X. And during that process, a waste emerges, W, waste emerges. Now, this final product X may either be exported or it may be cleared locally. So if it is exported, what I have to do? No import duty on A and B. If the final product X is exported, I don't have to pay any customs duty on the raw materials imported A and B. Then what about the waste? If the waste is destroyed after exporting the final product X, if the waste is destroyed, I don't have to pay any import duty on the inputs attributable to the waste. There is no need. I don't have to pay any customs duty if the waste is destroyed. If the waste is cleared locally, then I have to pay GST on the waste. It's a supply. I have to pay GST on that. Plus, I have to treat as if I have imported waste. And what is the classification for the waste? What is the value for the waste? Based on that, I don't have to pay customs duty on A and B attributable to for the waste. I need not identify how much raw material has become waste. It should be treated as if I am importing the waste. I have to pay customs duty on the waste applicable for the waste classification and the waste rate of duty. This is if the final product is exported. If the final product is cleared domestically, I am making home consumption, then import duty on A and B should be paid. Whenever the X is sold, I have to pay customs duty on imported goods A and B, including the raw material attributable to the waste. In our given example, 1000 kg import, 900 kg final product, and 100 kg waste and waste arises. Once I am clearing that final product in domestic market, 900 kg, I have to pay customs duty for the entire 1000 kg imported by me. Now, when I am selling X in domestic market, whatever is the GST payable and applicable, I have to pay. It's a supply, I have to pay. And if the waste is destroyed, in case the final product is cleared for home consumption, waste is destroyed, still I have to pay customs duty for the waste. The raw material A and B contained in waste, I have to pay customs duty. But I need not pay any GST on the waste because it is not supplied. So this is what is all about this particular inbound manufacturing scheme. So as I said, a pure 100% person who is clearing only locally, no export, they are also eligible to avail the benefit of the scheme. It is basically a deferment scheme. It is not an exemption scheme. Customs duty is deferred for a longer period. This will give lot of liquidity. And next you may ask, already there is something called the EOU. And what is the difference between this scheme and the EOU? Both looks to be similar. There also I will be importing without payment of duty. All this looks similar. Is it not a old wine packed in a new bottle and given? You may ask. But still there is lot of difference. If you can call EOU as a wedding, I'm giving the example of your own Coimbatore wedding, the famous celebrity wedding. So if in EOU can be compared to a wedding, and inbound manufacturing can be a convenient live-in relationship. See how under EOU, there is a commitment to export. We have to export. The unit itself is called only a 100% export-oriented unit. Subsequently, all that has been diluted. DTA is also permitted. All those things have come. But basically, there should be a commitment to export. Under inbound scheme, no commitment. And there is an obligation to get a net foreign exchange earning. Your import value and export value, the export value should be more. There should be a net foreign exchange earning under EOU. There is no such obligation under inbound scheme. Trading is not permitted under EOU. You have to necessarily carry out manufacturing operations or any other operations. But under inbound scheme, Even pure trading is also permitted under the ex-bond scheme. And coming out is always complicated in a wedding. But in living relationship, you just shake the hand and come out. So like that, coming out is also very easy under this particular in-bond scheme. You can surrender the license. There is no renewal of license. That also I should have told earlier. There is no concept of renewal of license. Once you get a license, till you surrender or till it is cancelled by the department for some violation, that license will continue, and you can surrender the license and come out by paying customs duty for all the materials on hand. So these are all the basic differences between the AOU scheme and the in-bond manufacturing. So with that, this scheme is come to give a boost to the Make in India campaign, and the government is also actively promoting this particular scheme. In fact, last week, the Minister of State for Finance has also addressed a meeting. So like that, I also request all of you to kindly consider and try. You cannot, if at all it is going to be feasible for you, it will give a lot of liquidity for you. Definitely you can also opt for it. Practically, we may encounter a lot of problems. There may be a lot of questions asked because it is new for everybody. But still, definitely it is a very, very interesting and beneficial scheme for all the people who are dependent on their imports. With that, from my part, I am closing the presentation. And now, whatever questions you have on this particular aspect, that will be addressed by my colleague Karthikeyan. Now the floor is open for questions on this particular aspect, in-bond scheme.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Natarajan, for the excellent presentation. The slides were beautiful, and we were all, we could understand totally what is happening. Let me start with a few doubts. What I had was, what will be the duty payment once the duty structure for that product changes? Like sometimes on China, we put anti-dumping duty or something like that. Is it going to affect, number one? And second is, if there is the rate of exchange, of course, the rate of exchange keeps fluctuating. So if the rate of exchange goes up by another 20%, so what do? We end up paying 20% more? These two are the initial questions.
No, sir, there are two issues here. With regard to value, the value is taken as if it is declared in the
video
in-bond
is not coming. Karthik, your video is not coming.
Sir.
Yes.
You when you import, you will file an in-bond bill of entry. That is called warehousing bill of entry. There you have to declare your value. The rate of foreign exchange that is prevalent on that day will be taken into account and your value will be assessed. After that, your value will not be touched at all. The rate of customs duty will be the one that is prevailing on the date of filing ex-bond bill of entry. So, as you said, if there is a levy of anti-dumping duty or any other duties on the date of filing ex-bond bill of entry, probably that will also apply.
You mean to say that the risk on account of fluctuating foreign currency rates will not have an impact?
Will not have an impact.
Exchange rate will be on the original date of import, right? That's
exactly.
What
yeah, if foreign exchange rate is relevant only for valuation, and value is as declared in the original in-bond bill of entry.
Thank you, sir. That's nice. And for traders, sir, there are certain items they are importing, and if certain products become obsolete, is there any safeguards for that? Is there, or it is the material of that the duty has to be paid as per the bill of lading?
No, even if it becomes obsolete, they cannot hold the stocks for long. For traders, the warehousing period is limited to only 1 year.
1 year, yes.
On expiry of 1 year, whether you make a supply or not, you are liable to pay the duty liability based on the rate of duty prevailing on that expiry date.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So participants, any further questions? Anybody wants to ask some questions? You're welcome.
Once I have a question. Suppose if an association wants to import certain materials required by the members, they can apply. Can they apply and import certain materials for the use of the members? So say Codicea. Codicea is intending to import in bulk and sell it to their members. Will they come under a trading category, and will it be beneficial to those such of those associations which they can make use for smaller SMEs for their requirements?
Yeah, it will be a normal trading warehousing only. Codicia can set up a private bonded warehouse. They can import in bulk, hold the materials with them, and give it in piecemeal to various industries. But Codicia will not be undertaking any manufacturing operation. So it will be a normal trading warehouse. You will have a limited benefit of holding the stocks for only 1 year, and your interest-free period will be only first 90 days.
Okay. And is there any restriction on country-wise imports? Now that China
No,
is
sir.
being on the talk now.
Unless otherwise barred in specific for everybody. For warehousing alone, there is no specific bar and all countries are permitted.
Oh, thank you.
Karthik, even I have a query. See, from the Codicia angle, what CSK asked, you said manufacture, they will become pure traders. What is the difference between a manufacturer and a trading? See, where is the definition going to be drawn from? Are we going to take it from the erstwhile or the Central Excise Act?
In fact, the rules, Act itself is such that manufacture and other operations. It need not be real full manufacture.
So if I'm going to change the packing also, I can claim that it is going to be an operation and still claim that get out of that 1 year bar from the trading.
Yes.
Okay.
Even affixing a label can also be a process.
Yeah, imported by Codicia, imported. Why Codicia? We'll call chamber.
And only president can say that.
One more
so
query.
any operation, right?
Hi,
Okay.
sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir. One query. I'm from Keynes Technology in Mysore.
Yeah.
Like my query is like, see, we are importing goods for manufacturing purpose only, and we are exporting also.
Okay.
But for some cases, whatever the raw material we import, will transfer to, like, stock transfer will be happening to our other units.
To other units. Okay.
Stock transfer will be happening to other units. So in that case, whether we'll get the benefit, or we'll be considered, we are not holding, right? We are transferring to our units. So whether it will affect us or not.
Now this warehousing permission is given only for a particular premises.
Okay.
So once you set up this warehouse in Chennai, and if you start moving it to any other unit, which is not a bonded warehouse, then it is an issue. You will have to pay duty only and then clear.
In other words, get a warehousing license for that place also.
Oh, that okay.
Then it will be a warehouse to warehouse transfer. You don't have to pay.
So only after date we are holding only it will be applicable for us.
Yes. You can clear to another warehouse. They are also licensed under these provisions. Then it can be cleared without payment of duty further.
Karthik, what about job work? Can we go, take away for job work and bring it back?
This is a clarification expected. Nothing is mentioned anywhere except in the form prescribed for accounts. They very clearly say what is the material sent to job worker, what is the material returned from job worker. So based on the form, we are of the opinion that you are entitled to clear to job worker. But in black and white, there is nothing coming up.
Oh, okay. Sir, shall we move to the next session on the most wanted?
Yes, sir. Let's go, sir.
Yes. Now, let me invite, first, my thanks to Natarajan and Karthik. In fact, this is the first time I'm also listening to this lecture. So thanks for enriching all of us. And now let us move on to the second very important, based on the Gujarat High Court decision. I invite Makarant, called AKA Mac. Over to you, Mac, and all the best. You are addressing one of the, blessed, I would say, one of the best and the blessed forum. All the best to you. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are.
Very good evening to all the members of the chamber, respected president and members. In fact, before I begin, when I first came to Coimbatore and I met JK sir, the first place he took me to was the chamber, and he introduced me a few people there. So that was my first view of Coimbatore itself. And now getting into the judgment, the Gujarat High Court has been on a roll, as sir has already said, and is giving many various judgments in GST. And one of this is the VKC footsteps judgment. What this judgment is about is that Rule 89 Clause 5 prescribed a particular formula to calculate refund amount, and the Gujarat High Court decided upon it. If we can just move to the next slide, I will explain further. So, Section 54 Clause 3, as we can see on the screen, this is the act that relates to a refund. If we can just read the act, clause 3 says, subject to the provisions of subsection 10, a registered person may claim refund of any unutilized input tax credit at the end of any tax period. And the proviso says that provided that no refund of unutilized input tax credit shall be allowed in cases other than, and then it gives two exceptions. The first one, it's not necessary for us, that those are exports. The second one, if I read it out, it says where the credit has accumulated on account of rate of tax of inputs being higher than rate of tax on output supplies. Now, this scenario in a nutshell, it's called inverted duty structure. So, if we can just see the act once again, it says refund of any unutilized input tax credit, and where the rate of, when your rate of inputs are higher than rate of outputs, you have essentially what happens is in your ledger, you will be stuck with certain credit. How much ever you manufacture, because your inputs are higher, you will be stuck with a certain amount of credit. If you can just move to the next slide, I'll explain it in a more clear way. So what is inverted duty structure? As we have seen in the previous slide, section 54 subclause 3 subclause 2 gives us a refund of it, and an inverted duty structure is basically where your inputs cost you higher, the tax on your inputs is higher than your output. Now I have given a very basic calculation here. Suppose let's take the petitioners in the case itself. They are manufacturers of footwear. So they were getting leather and polyol, etc. And they were getting it for a rate of 18%. And they would, if they had bought it for 100 rupees, they would have gotten an ITC of 18 rupees.
You're not audible back. I think audio has been muted.
Is it audible now, sir?
Yeah, now it is. Now it is. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just start. So what an inverted duty structure, as I have already explained, is where your inputs are accumulating because you get them on a higher rate more than your outputs. So if we can just see the slide itself, if I buy something at for 100 rupees at 18%, I get an ITC of 18 rupees. But even after doing my own manufacturing and my own addition, even for a higher price, but the rate of tax on my manufactured good is just 5%, then I'll be left with an ITC accumulation of 8 rupees. And now what happens is over a period of time, this just keeps accumulating in your account and you can't use it anywhere. So GST is basically the main identity of GST. When they are formulating it itself, they said this is a destination based tax. Only the final consumer will will bear the incident of tax. So, and this particular structure where your rate of tax on inputs is higher was an anomaly to the GST what they were designing. So the parliament had decided where the rate of inputs are higher, they will refund the amount. And if you just go to the next section, the next slide, please. So section 54 subclause 3 gives you a refund when your inputs are higher than output. But the rule prescribes the procedure. Now here is where the entire problem arose, because rule 89 subclause 5 was amended. If we can just see the formula, originally it said where you have an inverted duty structure, your ITC shall be refunded as per the following formula. And they said the maximum refund amount you can get is when you take your total turnover of inverted rate of supply and multiply it with your net inverted input tax credit, and you divide it by your adjusted total turnover. Here they have explained the term net ITC, and they said that net ITC means the same explanation as subrule 4. And that explanation said, it's highlighted in bold, it's originally, this is the pre-amendment period. So they said net ITC includes credit on both inputs and input services. But what happened after the amendment, if we just go to the next slide, I will show. We will also remember this formula. I will give you a practical example also in the end. That will make it even more clearer. So the main problem arose when the department decided to amend this Rule 89 subclause 5. And the first amendment came in form of notification number 21 on 18th April 2018. And they said the definition of net input tax, if you remember from the previous slide, it included inputs and input services. But currently, they just removed the input services part and they just said inputs net ITC only means inputs during the relevant period. And then after 2 months after it, they have given another notification saying that this amendment of ITC, the definition, it will be there with effect from 1st July 2017. So in effect, they have removed your they have removed input services from your net ITC from the day of GST, from the day GST started itself. And this creates the problem because many business owners, everyone, they decide on how to run their business on what their taxation scenario is. And suddenly if the department comes and says, this part we won't allow, it creates a cash flow problem for many businesses. And if you just go to the next slide, the department had given a clarification on as to why they have given, why they have amended the definition of net ITC. And this is also, this circular is also majority of the department's contentions before the Honorable High Court also. These are what they said. They said that net ITC includes inputs, and they said that section 2 subclause 59, which are the definition sections, it says that inputs are only goods, and there is nowhere it is defined that services or anything else can be included in the term inputs. And therefore they said that to get the rules in line with the act, we have just removed input services. There is nothing wrong in doing this. We are just streamlining the entire structure of the act so that the parliament itself never intended to give input services. That was an anomaly. And now by basing on these two amendments, we are setting the record straight. And if we can go to the next slide, please. Yes. So these were the main arguments before the court, and the court decided that the main arguments of the department was that the parliament never intended to give refund on input services. Therefore, they have gotten the amendment. But the petitioners have said that if we see the section, it says refund of any unutilized input tax credit. They use the term any unutilized input tax credit, and they have gone into the definitions, and they said that the court has held that unutilized input tax credit means credit of inputs. And when they see the definition, again, inputs includes both goods and services. So when the definition itself includes both goods and services, you cannot make a rule that is against the act itself, because the main contention or the main finding of the court is your rules that you have used your delegated legislation and the rules you frame, they cannot go against the act itself. Your rules have to be subservient to the act. And therefore, the court has held that Rule 89 subclause 5, the amended portion, is ultra vires, and they have gotten input services into the definition again. And these were the main, this is the main decision of the court. If you just can go to the next slide. So yes, as I told earlier, we will just see a small example on how to calculate your refund, maximum refund as per the amended provisions and now after the Gujarat High Court's decision. So if we remember, the refund entitlement formula prescribed that you had to divide your total turnover of inverted rate profits and then divide it with your total turnover in the tax period. Okay, and originally, if we see the formula in serial number 7, it says serial number 4. 4 is ITC availed on inputs. But after the High Court's decision, you can take ITC on both inputs and input services. So, as per the original provisions, you have to divide number 2 by number 1, and you would get a total of uh, you would only get to take total of 6 lakhs as your inputs. But now after the Gujarat decision, you would be allowed to take 8 lakhs as your inputs, and because you can also add your input services, therefore your maximum refund entitlement amount will also include the input services amount, and totally originally you are only allowed to get 50,000 refund, and now because of the Gujarat High Court decision, you are allowed to get 1,50,000. Therefore, this decision has brought a major relief to the many petitioners and also many SSCs, because now it lets you take a higher refund and it also lets you take the refund of your input services as well. And now coming to the final slide, these are just our thoughts basically on what we think of the issue. So now that the High Court, Honorable High Court has held that you can claim refund on your input services as well, what happens in real life? What can we file a refund claim? Because originally the judgment was only for petitioners and it was given by the Gujarat High Court. So the first issues we have before us are the limitation to file this refund claim. So as per the Act itself, refund claim, the maximum time you can file a refund claim is within 2 years of the tax period, correct? And this decision came on 24/7/2020. And if you can see 2017-18 tax period, the last date for that would be, if you take 2 years, it will be 31st March 2020. Now again, due to COVID-19 pandemic and all, the government has given certain, the government has passed an ordinance by the Honorable President, which had extended the limitation to 31st August 2020 for all tax related purposes. So now the main issue is, are we hit by limitation for 2017-18 period? That is, since it has only given till 31st March, can I file a refund claim for 17-18 period? Yes, we can, because there is an ordinance and that allows us, the last date now becomes end of this month, that is 31/8/2020, we can file a refund claim. And second issue is, in cases where you have already gone for a refund claim of input services and it is pending before the department, and let's just say the order in original has already been passed, should we go before the Commissioner Appeals, or do we prefer a writ before the Honorable High Courts of particular jurisdictions? In this case, the best advice would be to go on a case-to-case basis, because now that the decision has come and it has come in the favor of SSCs, we can always bring it to the attention of the department and tell them that input services should also be included in in such cases. However, one issue might be that many department or many people might say this is not finalized, this is still pending, the law is only settled by the High Court, etc. But we have to realize what happened here is the Gujarat High Court has amended CGST rules, and CGST is applicable for the entire country. If the High Court had said, has given a decision on SGST, it would have been only applicable for Gujarat itself. But now the Honorable Court has amended the law for the entire country. And the next issue would be supplementary claims. So if I have already, for say for 18-19, I have already filed my refund applications, and I have not included, following the law, I have not included the input services in them. And can I file now with the judgment that says you can file for your input services also? Can I file a supplementary claim? That is also not given in anywhere in law, but that has also not been prohibited per se by law. Of course, the portal will only allow for you to file a single refund claim for a tax period, but nothing stops a taxpayer from filing a manual refund claim and getting it, submitting it in the department. There is no law that stops us from filing another claim for the same period, and we can always show this judgment and say that for that period we have not uh, included input services, but now by law we are entitled to refund of that as well. And now, before I finish my presentation, the final issue would be whether this particular issue is momentary or perpetual. What I mean by this is this issue is still pending before the High Court, like the Supreme Court, and the department will go on appeal. Suppose like brand equities, if it gets a stay, we have a very short period of time. Whether Supreme Court decides in favor of SSEs as per Gujarat High Court, or it overturns the decision, we still have a short amount of time before the decision is appealed by the department. So, and this is a no loss situation, because if refund claim gets rejected, it just gets rejected. You don't have any penalties upon you. So there is nothing to lose in this situation. Therefore, it is advisable for everyone to file refund claims for your input services as well. And now if anybody has any questions, I would like to take them. Thank you so much for this opportunity to the chamber.
Thank you, Mac. We'll go to the floor. Yes, sir. Any issues or any questions on this? We'll definitely take it. In fact,
So, can I tell my view about this?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my view is this can never be overturned by Supreme Court, because as far as Section 54(3) says input tax credit, the rule cannot override the law. There are several decisions of Supreme Court and any other law, other direct taxes and other laws. Therefore, unless the government amends that 54(3) to restrict to input on goods alone, they can never reject, and this has become final. And according to me, the Supreme Court decisions have already said that rule cannot override the law. Therefore, they have to amend the law. For amending the law in this COVID time, they have to even go to the council, or I don't know what is the procedure. But unless they amend the law, this has become a final, according to my view of this. And of course, any petition can be done before 31st August. Even it need not be a complete claim. It can be a claim for the sake of a claim, so that the claimant may have an opportunity to amend it, correct it later, so that the claim has already been made before 31st March.
True, sir. I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you. And yeah, that is the proposition. That is law. A rule can never, a subservient rule can never overrule an act, which is example in this case. And yes, sir, I endorse your views.
Just to supplement your views, if the refund on input services or the inverted duty structure is just given by the government as a facility because there is an anomaly in GST, and if the government wants, it can take it away. There is nothing illegal in it, but they have to do it, as you have said, with an amendment to the act. They cannot bring in a rule or use delegated legislation to take away a right that has given to you by virtue of the act. So if the government wants, it has to amend only the act, and even that has to be within constitutional limits.
Correct. Yes, sir. Any other questions?
No, sir. We are all very happy to note that the inverted duty structure, that's mainly for pump industry, will also be benefited by this. So,
in fact, I have to put it on record that President has been saying this from day one. When the restriction came, he was saying that this has to be taken out and this will be taken out. He even asked us, why can't you file a writ and do that? Because this is not correct. And all the pump industries, engineering industries will be hit if this is going to come. So this is a victory to your, what to say,
yes. Without
position,
going
sir.
to court, we didn't go to court.
To your proposition, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, excuse me. Good evening, sir. I am Senthil Kumar from Supertech Industries.
Yes,
Regarding this inverted credit, we have under 3 headings. One is Tran 1, whatever was available at the time prior to the July 17. And next is capital goods, whatever we purchased on capital goods. Third one is this services. So out of this, we have to claim only for the services, sir, or how it is?
Shall I explain?
Yes, sir.
One second, I'll amplify his question. Is your question that, sir, that by this Gujarat High Court judgment, whether your holding credit on capital goods will also get inside, can we include that also for the calculation? Is that your question?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now over to you, Natarajan. We have discussed that. He will come back to you.
Yeah, coming to the transitional credit, the credit earned under the old law, which has been carried forward, that cannot be considered in this particular formula, because let us assume you are filing inverted refund for the month of July. You have to take into account the credit availed in July. The credit availed in July. The transitional credit has already been availed. You are only carrying it forward. So your first part of your question, can we include the transitional credit also? That may not be possible. That is the first part. And secondly, you are having 3 types of credit: input, capital goods, and input services. All along, we have been talking only about input and input services. Originally, both were allowed, and subsequently, they amended the rule. They restricted with retrospective effect. Now, court says input service is available. But all along, the capital goods part is totally silent. The capital goods part is totally silent. But if you apply the ratio of the Gujarat High Court judgment, what Gujarat High Court judgment says, section 54 says, input tax credit, which is accumulating because of inverted routine rate, it shall be refunded. What is input tax credit? There is a definition. It includes everything. Input service, capital goods, everything is part of input tax credit. So the rationale of the Gujarat High Court judgment, which is only in the context of input service, because in that case they fought only for input services. They have not fought for capital goods credit. But the same logic can be extended and argued for capital goods also. It can be argued technically, legally, we can definitely say that the same logic should be applied to capital goods also. So legally, we are correct. But practically, if you see, this inverted refund itself is just 3 years old. We never had this earlier. Even under excise regime also, there were inverted rate, credit will accumulate, nothing can be done. No refund mechanism. Because GST is a consumption-based value-added tax, only the value addition should be taxed. So wherever there is an accumulation, the value addition concept is not working out properly because of an inverted routine. Government wanted to give something. When they wanted to give something, fortunately for us and unfortunately for the government, they used the word input tax credit. If they have originally planned that only input tax credit pertaining to inputs, it would have been better for the government and bad for us. But fortunately for us, they have used this word. But once we try to stretch it even to capital goods, legally we are entitled. Going by the present provisions, we can very much argue. But if we stretch it too far, the government may also have a rethink, because retrospective amendment we have seen so much under GST, transitional credit. The government is hell-bent on not giving transitional credit. So many courts, so many judgments throughout the country, they are giving. You give it, open it. If you are not able to open it, enable 3B. Let them take it on their own. Like that, thousands of judgments have come. But still the government don't want to give. They are bringing retrospective amendment. So if we are stretching it even for capital goods, the government will become more and more, they will act against the interest, trying to block it. So, but technically and legally, even capital goods also, similar argument can be taken.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, Natarajan sir, but one thing is, when government introduced, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are listening.
Introduced GST, they said it is a seamless credit. Whatever credit you're getting, you have to pass on to the consumer. So that is the clear thinking of the government. So once that is the thinking, every credit that an industrialist should be passed on to the consumer. So what we are not able to pass on to the consumer, we should get a refund. So with one logic, we should work around this.
Definitely,
One.
sir.
Second is, once there is a percentage has been made, now you said the formula is there for getting a refund. Once you put on the formula, our input on only the products and services will be more than what refund we are getting. So that means what will be happen to the difference in value, which has been passed on to me and which I am unable to pass on to the end consumer. So where does it go? Who bears this cost?
Sir, ideally, as you said, I am fully with you on the principles. Once the GST is there, that is the ultimate aim. There should be a seamless credit, and it is only a value addition which is taxed. It's a consumption-based tax. Everything is pakka. But there is always a gap between what is the theory and what is the practice. See, what is happening is, let us say, I will give another example. Education has to be given to all the students. It's a fundamental right of the students. That is the theory. But in practice, still there are various bottlenecks and all that. So maybe whatever you are wishing, it may happen maybe in another 10 years or another 15 years. There is a way to do it. We have to reach that level. So if that is the principle, why they are having 17.5 in the GST Act? There should be no blocked credit. Construction credit is not allowed. Rent-a-cab credit not allowed. Catering credit not allowed. Insurance not allowed. These are all against the principle of GST. So like that, it will take some more time for the government to reach at that particular level. So till such time, we may have to bear with it. Ultimately, the idea should be, see, for example, you are incurring 1,000 rupees for a rent-a-cab, where there is some 50 rupees GST. And government is saying, I will not give you the credit. Will anybody spend 1,050 rupees only to get 50 rupees credit? Definitely not. So I have to engage a vehicle. I have to engage a vehicle for my business purpose. I have to spend 1,000 rupees. So there is a tax 50. So anything which is spent, anything which is, whether it is necessary, whether it is luxury or it is essential, no question should be asked. If I am spending, credit should be given. That is the ultimate goal. We have to reach it.
We need to keep on fighting for it, sir.
Yes, definitely.
The association you should give us so that we'll keep on representing the government. That
Definitely,
is what it
definitely.
should be. And if government's intention is, I do not want to give credit. Like in builders, they said you charge this differential duty, a smaller percentage, on which no credit will be given, and it will not be passed on to the consumer. Like that, let them just say in one or two places this duty is not passed on. That is okay, but they cannot have a rule saying that everything should be passed on and then keep on giving hindrances to the manufacturers or the users or the middlemen who are collecting tax and paying to the government. We're all, in that sense, we are manufacturers and traders and middlemen here.
Definitely.
We collect tax and pay to the department. What is our role? And why are we penalized for doing that?
You are right, sir. You are right. We have to work for it.
Sir, for the floor is open, sir. Any further questions? Sandil, you are happy with the answer? You need any clarifications?
No, sir. Extremely happy, sir. No problem, sir. Thanks a lot for Chamber, sir, for organizing such a wonderful program. And they had given the message was given very clearly in both the things.
Thank you, Mr. Sindhu. No, these are incentives we take it. These are our incentives, which keep us, going. Thank you. Thanks for the nice words.
Particularly in the present scenario where the industry is struggling, on this kind of a release, if it is getting, it is a great relief.
Great relief, yes, sir. Great relief for all of us.
Thank you. Shall we close the session, sir? Because it is going to be 6:45. We are already 1 hour 45 minutes. CSK, you have any value additions?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Over to you, President. We are closing the floor.
We would like to thank you, sir, for all the nice words that you told about our team.
Thank you,
office bearers. But the royal credit goes to your team, who has been doing a tremendous job in hand-holding all the members on GST. We are really We thank you very much from the bottom of heart for all the
Thank you, sir.
services that you have rendered to us. Now, I would like to our CSK Prabhu to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, President. Of course, I have a value addition. Today, I have to take a clue from the President, my President, because he is my President, and I could see a Virat Kohli before me and another Rahul Dravid behind. Now,
You are
know
CSK.
who is Virat Kohli?
You are CSK, sir, after all. Chennai Super Kings.
Virat Kohli is known for his alertness and fitness, and definitely the country head Jaikumar is totally alert and fit on GST and other legal matters. And of course, he is ably supported by the wall, the Rahul Dravid, who is Natarajan, who is behind him, and convincing Natarajan will be much difficult than Jaikumar or any department. It will be very difficult to convince Natarajan. And of course, the third junior, this thing, Makarand, the name itself suggests that he is the essence of the GST and the essence of Swami Associates. And we are really fortunate to have all the partners in a seminar like this, so that we are able to get the intellectual, the strength of all the partners. In fact, we are very lucky to have such a team to support the chamber and its members. And I also thank the two topics which are really ease of doing business for the government, which has to be properly projected, so far has not been projected. And certainly it's an ease of doing business, and the SMEs can certainly avail the benefit, and their working capital will be certainly will be supported by the government actually. In fact, our president has wrote to the government to in view of the COVID, he wants all the government depots to give more credit for supply of goods and the payment of goods. In fact, in a different way, this has been achieved by the government. We really thank Swami Associates, Mr. Jayakumar, Rajan, Makarand, Mr. Karthik, Meenakshi Sundaram. So many partners were here, and we thank each one of you for having come and given us, shared your experience. Thank you very much. And I also thank all the members who have participated in this meeting. I thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we
Thank you,
wish
sir.
all of you a happy Independence Day, sir.
I wish you all a very, very happy Independence Day. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It has been a pleasure always, and it's a pleasure today also. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Jai Hind. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.